Let's move on over. Go. Hopefully you guys are seeing the December business meeting. Can someone just jump on and say yes, or let me know, or see what you got going?
Yes, I can see it.
Okay, thank you, Mark. Looks like we're good. Everybody's good morning. Great. All right. Okay. Happy December. Happy holidays. Good to see everybody. Love it. This is great. End of the year, everybody's like, okay, come on, let's get together. We'll see you much during the year. So that's good. Hope everybody had a good Thanksgiving. I guess we'll turn off the speaker. Super size, your laundry. There you go. Anyway, so Audrey is out with Icky. I know that it's been going around, so please make sure that you are taking time to hydrate, rest, which is unusual this time of year, I get it. But be careful. She says hi and happy holidays. So come and visit her when she's feeling better and can't share anything other than herself. So for today, welcome, happy holidays. Let me choose what I do next. Let me lead with my values. Let me focus on what I can control. If you haven't heard of Mel Robbins, this is Mel Robbins. So what I like about Mel Robbins is that I like the way she just kind of keeps it real. Trying to get that shrunk down. Huh? Just let it. Yeah. Let it. She's good. The other reason I thought would be good is this is a crazy time of year, so everybody's running in 17 different directions. But we've still got a good year coming for us. It's been a different kind of a real estate year in the past couple of years. Not a bad thing, but just an opportunity for us to reset. Those opportunities will continue to come over the next couple of years as changes occur, but stay strong in your business, stay strong in what you can control, stay strong in connecting with your customer base. As we kind of come to the end of the year, kind of wanted to talk about some real estate resolutions. We were talking last month about something that we could do to maybe take a look at and focus on and get us refocused. We were talking about our social media a little bit. We'll talk about a couple of other things when we talk about our resolutions. Resolutions are great. They're great when you do them on, December 31st, and then by January 2nd, they've changed, which is not a problem as long as they change for what it is. And getting rid of a few is not a bad idea. Having 10 is probably not your best bet. But what real estate resolutions are you going to make? We'll talk about the teas, the talk, the trends. We'll talk about our November accomplishments, give our business partners a chance to let us know what's going on. And I think that's what we're going to be covered. So let's talk about those real estate resolutions. Is there anything that you have thought about that you would like to focus on for next year? Talk about business planning. Some of you have taken advantage of that. Some of you have done it in your own mind. Some of you have done it on paper. In your own mind is a very dangerous place, so I would be careful of it. But anything that you're thinking that you would like to focus on next year for real estate? One thing, just one thing. That's not good. One thing, anything? Anybody? One thing? What?
I'm working on testimonials.
Great.
Video.
Perfect. Wonderful. Testimonials, video testimonials. And if you bank them, you can, in other words, if you go and do a bunch of testimonials, maybe you set aside 1 week of appointments or 2 weeks of appointments with past customers, you do a 5-second video testimonial, you've now started to plan what you're doing in your social media for next year. So let's say you did 12, you've got one a month going out, and then you can repeat, or you could do them every other month, however it works. But it's a great way to engage with your social media, something to do to get feedback, to get not only feedback, but to get positioning and to also put information out there about it. Anybody else? Love testimonies. Yes, ma'am.
Focus more, I think, on learning how AI can help me more.
Right.
Okay, AI. You guys gave me.
That was an endorsement.
He's changing.
Now, I love AI, and you're going to see a lot of different policies coming out about AI, not only our policy, but MLS's policy, NEFAR's policy, NAR's policy on AI. AI is a fantastic tool if you consider how it can help you be more efficient. And I think that's a great way to look at AI, is how it can help you be more efficient. We have to be really careful. Remember, no matter what AI gives you, it has what we call hallucinations, which are non-factual information. Plus, you are still responsible for everything that you put out through AI. So if it's a photo and somehow it gets a piece of something that shouldn't be there, you're responsible for it. So if it makes a house look like it doesn't, that's a problem. So anyway, I think AI is great. You guys gave us a lot of feedback on topics that we're going to be working with our partners on putting together for next year. And AI was definitely one of those topics. So I think that's a fantastic place to start. Absolutely. And if we don't know about it, we don't know how we can use it. We don't know how we can talk to our customers about it. We don't know how we can use it to enhance our business and make us more efficient. Yes, absolutely. So AI is a definite thing to look at. Anything else?
Think about just staying connected, like just staying connected if it's, like quarterly or holidays. So I'm gonna do a better job of that.
I don't think it's just you. I think we all do. Whether it's our past customers or a psychographic or demographic or geography that we have elected to connect with, I think that staying connected is one of those things that we forget to put on our calendars. We're so fortunate that we've got social media, but we also are kind of leery of social media. So, but with social media, what you can do is if you're doing Facebook or Instagram, you can plan out a whole month of promotional material, not just about real estate, but about you or what you do, or volunteer things that you're involved with, other organizations that you're involved with, things you do. Your customers want to know more about you as a rounded individual rather than just one-dimensional in real estate. So social media can help you do that by planning, but we forget to put it in our books. We forget to do pop buys with past customers or opportunities. So I think that should be on all of our lists. I think that's a great one. Anything else?
I want to do more marketing out of the area.
Ooh, out of the area marketing.
Like New York, New Jersey, those areas, and West, trying to figure out how to reach those type of people. I mean, homes and land, but how do I target reach?
Getting outside of the
our area for
right.
Because we're
still come. Yeah.
So
we tend to be a high Canadian base, a high South American base.
New York.
Ah, great idea.
Long Island and President.
Yeah. So, I mean, you can do it through print, you can do it through social media, but targeting becomes really important. It's much easier through social media, but it's also very doable in print media when you start to maybe showcase the benefits of Jacksonville or showcase the benefits of the activities that we have, the proximity to water, the connection to the north, or the connection to the Midwest even. So I think that's great. Couple things. If you're interested, these are the top 9 podcasts for real estate. Maybe you want to say, I am going to focus on finding one podcast that I might listen to on a regular basis, weekly, every other day. You've got something like The Walkthrough, which is, if you haven't heard it, it's actually kind of cool. It's agents talk about their successful marketing programs. So when you're looking at marketing or how to expand your marketing, The Walkthrough might be a way. The Real Estate AI Flash. This is if you pop into this, it's really kind of interesting. All the different ways that agents are using AI to enhance their efficiencies. And this was a big topic at NAR Next just a month or so ago. Gosh, maybe longer than that. But AI, I think that what Maria said about AI is really true. I think that not only is it a tool that we can use, but we also have to know how to use it. We had someone say to us, "Oh, gosh, AI, isn't it going to replace realtors?" Well, no, this is still a nose to nose, toes to toes, face to face business. There's a lot that goes on in our business that AI can get wrong. And you're the source of that information, especially with all the changes. The Needle Home Show, this guy's pretty interesting. He does digital marketing. He talks a lot about digital marketing. Maybe you want to take a look at this list and kind of bounce around a little bit. Maybe you want to see who you connect with. You've got the Ninja Selling. Has anybody done the Ninja program? The Ninja program is a great program. It's a feel-good type of program. It talks about a better balance in your life, but it also talks about how to connect with people on a different level. And it really sets you out with planning. But this is a great way to kind of see what some of the key concepts are. If you haven't, if you want to get a feel for what Ninja is or Ninja Selling is before you start listening to the podcast, or this is a good way to get an idea of it, there is the Ninja Selling book, which is actually a quick read. It's not a long book and it's fairly basic. There's the Real Estate Video Blueprint. So talks about how to use video in your marketing and in real estate, how to build your business through video. What other things like you're doing, reaching out with testimonials. The Millionaire Real Estate Agent. This is off the book, The Millionaire, what is it? Millionaire Real Estate Agent or something like that. And then Stay Paid. This talks about lead generation. You guys, when I came across this podcast and then kind of checked into it, I thought it was interesting because I thought, oh, Stay Paid. One, that's so relevant right now because you're negotiating with buyers, you're negotiating with sellers on compensation. You're trying to help your buyers understand how compensation works. You're trying to help sellers understand how compensation works on both sides. Some of those conversations come up in here, but it does talk about lead generation, where you're going to go for lead generation. The interesting thing that I found about some of the segments that I listened to here are they don't talk necessarily about lead generation, about a focus on going out and buying leads. They talk about lead generation with a focus on where to generate leads through the avenues that you currently connect with. So, I mean, I've mentioned it a couple of times, psychographics. I love psychographics because it's beyond economics, it's beyond geography, it's working with people that you connect with. So, if you enjoy wine, maybe you host a quarterly wine tasting. If you enjoy restaurants, maybe you reach out to a group of people and you say, let's all meet up at this restaurant this quarter or this restaurant this quarter. But it allows you to connect with people that you have something in common with, enjoyment of food or enjoyment of a beverage, enjoyment of something else. And you reach out and connect with people across all boundaries or no boundaries, basically. So that one was interesting. Founders, I like this one a lot because it does and talks about you running your business as a business. We have such a difficult time thinking about our business as a business. We think, oh, until I make that first X number of dollars, I can't invest $200 in this marketing program, or until I make this amount of money, I can't invest into my marketing here, into my promotion here. We kind of have to think about, how do I build my business? What am I doing? And this really focuses on treating your business as a business. So if you're thinking about how to adjust your mindset in your business, this is a really good one. And then Tom Ferry. Tom Ferry is great. If you haven't heard anything from Tom Ferry, pop in there or go onto YouTube, listen to one of his videos. He is great for helping realtors get remotivated and also for shifting mindset. So which is great. So these are, if maybe listening to a podcast might be one of your resolutions, this might be something that you would consider. One of these might be something you consider. Yes, ma'am.
In all of my networking and just got back from the convention, as you said, and I'm hearing a lot of agents saying, I'm not working with buyers, I'm referring out. If you like working with buyers, find some agents to network with and find out who are those agents that don't want to work with buyers. And consider them as a referral source.
Oh, I think that's a great idea. Referrals from other agents.
Had a local referral from a guy, one of her past customers who wanted to buy a condo, and she's like, I'm not dealing with condos. It's a mess right now. I think there's too much liability. I can't stay on top of all the changes. And I know you do. So here's a referral. It is amazing the number of agents out there that, and especially the ones that have been in the business a long time. And they're set in their ways and they don't really have to go through this whole buyer negotiation thing. So put your ear out there because.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, yeah, they don't want to deal with it. Sure. Right. You're online, you didn't hear that. It was related to the buyer broker agreement doing it, and then why people are referring it because they don't want to deal with the buyer broker agreement. Did you, Chris?
But I'm pretty much, they still want their compensation, they want me to show, they want me to show the amenities, get them all set up, because I live in the building where I sell a lot. So I'm doing a lot of regular, I've got both sides sometimes. But
So
when you say a referral, you just take the buyers and just pay them a referral. Yeah.
no, not pay the buyers a referral. Go ahead.
Them, they don't want to work with buyers.
So what do you do? You're not taking, you're not.
Right, so these agents are like, I'm just not even dealing with buyers. I'm just referring them out because they don't want to deal with the whole buyer broker agreement with, the one that I'm talking about, she didn't want to deal with condos, right? But I'm hearing across the state and across the country and even locally, I'm not dealing with buyers. I'm referring them out.
So one of your real estate resolutions may be to connect with other agents and find out what their hot buttons are. And if their hot button is, I don't want to work with buyers, maybe you work out a referral program with that agent so that agent then refers their buyers to you. You pay them a referral fee. You pay that referral fee once, that buyer becomes your buyer, right? If they have anybody that they want to refer, who are they going to refer to? Not the person who ditched them. They're going to refer to the person that helped them get to where they needed to get to. So if we're talking about trying to focus on real estate resolutions, what one thing you might do next year to help increase your business might be to create a referral network through other agents, other local agents, or if you're a CRS member, or if you know, or if you know another organization like CIPS, you might want to see about creating connections with realtors in those organizations. So if you're vested in any of those organizations, now is a good time to start thinking about your real estate resolution in connecting or reconnecting or starting to connect with them in those areas. So that's great. So we've got testimonials, we've got podcasts, we've got referrals, we've got psychographics. And remember, psychographics don't necessarily deal with the mentality of the individual you're talking to. They don't have to be psycho. Oh, wow, you guys are really, we need a coffee, or maybe we need to open the wine. Anyway, they are. They are, that's true. Commit to one value-driven prospecting technique. So are you going to time block? Are you going to focus on your past customers? Are you going to focus on a specific geography? What one area are you going to focus on to kind of increase your business? And when we're talking increase your business, think about it. If you did 10 transactions this year, increasing by 10% is really just one transaction, right? So our goal is to develop one transaction. Maybe you're going to be aggressive and do 20% and try and increase by 2 transactions. Maybe you increased your average sales price from $550 to $650. Great. Now you want to have 2 more transactions in that $650 range. Well, that's great. That now gives you a focus where you're not all the way out here. You're still within a specific block. Psychographics, I'm a big proponent of those. Level up your digital presence. We talked last month about the importance of your website. What about your digital presence? Are you connecting with people through your digital media? Remember, when you post something on Facebook, as long as your Facebook page is connected, it will go straight to Instagram. Maybe what you want to do is start with Instagram instead of Facebook. push it from that direction instead. That's going to be different for you. So you start with a reel, you start with a story in Instagram, which means you have to be on video, which is something none of us like to do. Or here's the deal. When you listen to your video, let's just acknowledge that's the way I sound. I don't want to hear my video because that's not the way I sound. You know what? You need to get over it. That's the way you sound. It is. I hate my voice on video, but I've got to get better at doing more and more videos. Just got to do it. Every time I put one of these things out on YouTube where we have a meeting or we have a training, I'm like, I'm cringing, but you know what? It is what it is. It's the way that I sound. It's the way that I look.
The 30-somethings are not on Facebook anymore.
Right.
They go right to
That's right.
Instagram.
Great point.
They go right to Instagram. My
Great
daughter, that 30-something, my son, none of them are on Facebook. They go right to Instagram. So
So we should be on Facebook.
we should.
Well,
That's true.
I think that's a great point Anthony made is he's saying, well, then we should be if this group is not on Facebook, then maybe we need to be on Facebook. Why? Because we can have a higher presence, just like what we're looking at, or the shift that occurred from print to social media. And now not a lot of real estate professionals are doing social media or print. So maybe it's a good time to be doing print into some of your market areas, just like what's your shift? If you've been solely Facebook pushing it to Instagram, maybe now's the time to push into Instagram and have it send over to Facebook instead, and then boost from Facebook. So there's lots of ways to make that shift, that one thing or that one little thing that you do for your resolution for next year. Expand your video content. I love the testimonials. You can expand your video content by viewing homes. You can expand your video content by sharing things that you do. When you happen to visit Italy, it's a great opportunity to share. Yeah,
It got in 1 week, 2,700 views. And people in the town, I bought a house in Italy last year, so we're in this town, and people walking around. I know you, I saw your video. I mean, I was crazy.
yeah.
It was crazy.
And that's great. And all the people here, and then making sure that you push it out to your past customer base or your geography that you're doing. Maria's done a great job of building her presence, not only in social media, but having a consistent image too. All of her stuff looks branded and looks to connect to her. It's not random this, random that, random this. It's not this Canva thing and that Canva thing. If you use Canva, just be consistent in what you use. Canva is a great medium to utilize to push out your information because it allows you to push into a variety of different formats, which is great, but make sure that there's consistency in the image and your branding. Initiate a newsletter. Well, a newsletter. Anyway, a newsletter, if you don't want to do it, that's fine. It's a daunting task. But if you keep things consistent in your newsletter, like you just have 5 blocks and one block is an update on real estate. You could even just take the image that MLS pushes out every single month that shows what's happening with real estate, what's up, what's down, days on market, pricing, all of that. You could throw that image right in there. And that's one thing done. Maybe you write one article about something you've done. You've taken another article from Florida Realtor Magazine. You take another article from NAR.realtor, and you're good to go. Out it goes, right? Maybe there's an organization or an individual like Eddie over at White Oak, Live Oak. Anyway, you can get to him right through orderlore.com, and he can help you with a newsletter. So there's a lot of different ways to make things happen. If you choose that way, then let's figure out how to make that happen, or what it is that you might need to make it happen. Adopt one new system that improves efficiency. Maybe it's AI. Maybe it's an email function that you learn on your CRM. Heaven forbid, maybe it's a CRM. That could happen too. Work with your CRM or select a CRM. What one task or one item could you fill in a little bit more? So maybe you didn't put in birthdays when you first went into your CRM, but now you have an opportunity to fill in birthdays. It's also an opportunity to reconnect with your customer base, get their birthday, fill it in. Maybe you forgot to put in some of the home purchase dates. Great opportunity to reach out, make some calls, or look in through your files and see. And if you can't remember when, or if it was a while ago, just look onto the tax record. It'll tell you when they closed. So you could add that purchase date. So something else that you could add or do. And then the last thing is education. Take one class per quarter. Maybe that's what you're going to do. Maybe you're going to commit to one additional designation. Maybe whatever it is, maybe it's something that you do. But these are all things that we could start to look at for our real estate resolutions. We make resolutions on a lot of other things, whether it's, weight, which I do every year. Anyway, or, exercise. Oh yeah, I do that one every year too. Anyway, or whatever it happens to be. Find one or two things within the real estate environment that will help you become more efficient and stronger in your business. That's what we really want to have happen for you for this month and into January, because that's what's really going to set up the plans for the next year. So if you have something you want to talk about, all you have to do is reach out. I'll connect you with the resources I have. I'll share whatever minimal information I have, what's ever left in my brain. We have an incredible data source within not only our company, but within our connections and our affiliations. So if there's something you're having trouble with, let's figure out how we can help you get to that point to set the goal of X and to be able to make that happen for you even sooner, maybe next year than you thought. Sound like a plan? And say it. No? Okay, well, everybody. That's what I forgot. I forgot the champagne and the orange juice. Teas, talks, and trends. Again, just some things that I see happening. I don't know how to emphasize this. Dates matter. Words matter. Dates matter. Y'all, really, the buyer broker agreement has to be dated prior to you doing any work with an individual. Hazel mentioned she's showing properties to buyers who are non-rep, who call her about a listing and want to see the property. They aren't represented. They currently don't want to be represented. Do you have an obligation to show them anything? No, you don't. If you have a listing, don't you think it's to your advantage to do that? Yes. If you are showing any of your listings or any of our company listings, you have the right to do that without a buyer broker agreement. But once that individual starts to talk to you about working with them, you must have a buyer broker agreement. And you must have that buyer broker agreement dated prior to showing the property. So I'm loving this. We get offers, they're executed on November 12th. And then I check the buyer broker agreement, and the buyer broker agreement is updated November 27th. Can't have it. Can't have it. I know that it seems like an oddity that we might be audited, but I have to look as if we're going to be audited on every single file, right? Part of what I have to do to help you make sure your business is in line. And I know I've heard, I meant to sign it, but I didn't sign it. I forgot to sign it. Well, guess what? When you didn't sign it, that means that it wasn't accepted by the brokerage. That means you don't have a relationship. That means that if they were to go under contract and consummate between the 12th and when you signed on the 27th, technically, when it got down to it, they could say, look, you weren't working for me then, therefore I don't have to pay you. And neither does the seller. So please make those dates line up. I know it's a challenge. I know it's sometimes difficult, and you have to watch them. It's the same thing on the listing agreement. I'm not trying to be hard ass on the buyer broker agreement. It's the same on the listing agreement. If your seller signs and you don't sign, it hasn't been accepted by the brokerage. Therefore, if you've got it out in MLS, we're marketing a property that we don't have the rights to market. So we have to make sure that when they sign, you sign. I understand that you're usually the last one to sign. Please don't forget to sign the listing agreement. That's our acceptance of the listing. That means we have a listing out there that you can get paid on, which is a good thing, right? So dates matter. Please watch those dates. I try to look at them and help you through that. Yes, sir.
You said that if we show a Legends property, we don't have to get a buyer's broker agreement, is that what you just said?
If you are so let's step by step. Yes, that's what I said. So let's make sure we're all clear. You have a listing. A buyer calls you and says, I don't want representation. I just want to see this listed. You say, fine. You open the door. You let them walk through. They ask you a couple of general questions about the property. You answer them. They say, well, we also wanted to see the house 3 doors down. And it's a Legends listing. Can you show us that? Yes, you can show them that without a buyer broker agreement because it's held within the brokerage. All the listings are held by our lead brokerage, our managing broker. Therefore, you can show all those listings without a buyer broker agreement. If now you're at that second listing and the buyer begins to ask you questions about specifics about the property, specifics about getting financing, at that point, you have to put a T in it, hold it, say, you know what, I would love to work with you. Are you interviewing agents or whatever form language you want to use? Are you in the process of interviewing agents? Because I would love to interview. I usually sit down for about 10 to 15 minutes with buyers and help them understand what the process is and make sure that we're on the same page. And then we can move forward. But yes, you can show a Legends listing, yours or one of our agents listings without having a buyer broker agreement. You can do an open house without having a buyer broker agreement for any of the people or having them sign anything that when they came into the house that says that they're committed to you for a period of time. Yes.
Is when you get to the point, say you're doing an open house, or that, you know, in Legends has another listing 3 floors down, and show that to me. But when you get to the point of providing advice or counsel to that buyer, that's kind of my line of saying, I can't move further without a written agreement between us. Because that would be a service that I would be providing as a buyer's agent. So that's kind of where I draw that line.
I like those 2 words, advice, counsel. Advice, counsel. Great. So the last date on the listing agreement is the execution date. That does start the clock. Let me just clarify on the listing agreement. If you're picturing the listing agreement, they have that first page, you're putting those dates on it. Technically, those dates are the start marketing dates. That's the date that a lot of the other responsibilities, the seller responsibilities, the brokerage responsibility, all of those start. That's the date that those start. So if it's November 20th and you're speaking with them on the 10th and they sign it on the 10th is when the executed listing agreement started. So now you have to make a decision. Are we doing coming soon? Are we doing a seller waiver? Is it a permanent waiver? Is it a limited waiver? You have to make some decisions at that point when those 2 dates are off. But that date at the bottom on page 4 or 5 is the date that we have a contract, as long as you've countersigned it. If they signed and you don't sign, guess what? We don't have a listing. We have no responsibility. Excuse me? Delivered to.
24 hours, I suppose.
Yep. Good points. Whenever you have a listing agreement, contract, any of those things, they have to get back to re-delivered or delivered back to within 24 hours to the parties. Okay. So dates matter. Please watch them. Please add the date to the initials on the addenda. Currently, they don't require a date. When you put initials onto it, you have the opportunity to add a date. Please do that. Some of those documents, for example, a condo rider, HOA disclosure, CDD disclosure, those are all required forms. If you get the contract executed, you don't get those other documents form. And this is why I go back to you a lot and say, you guys, you don't have the condo rider, you guys, you don't have addendum GG, you guys, you don't have this, or you don't have that, because you've checked them, but you don't have them. That can change the acceptance date of the contract, which means your inspection period, your loan approval period, all of that can stack out. So that's why we've got to watch to make sure that. So please make sure that you're starting to add, when you add initials, you add the dates to some of these additional documents, because that can change the execution date or the start of the clock on that. The date on page 1 of the listing agreement starts the marketing responsibilities. No rep buyers, kind of just talked about that, but just remember, no rep buyers, you can show properties as long as they are Legends properties. The compensation agreement, the seller to buyer's broker agreement, has been removed from the listing package. This is just a reminder. We initially put those in there because we wanted you to have something with the seller. You know, you're having a discussion with the seller at the time of the listing agreement to say, would you consider offering something to the buyer's broker? At what level would you consider that? Please note, I had this come up just yesterday. You should not be making a recommendation as to what the seller is willing to offer to a buyer's broker. Your conversation regarding buyer's broker compensation should be as vague as possible. In other words, Mr. Ms. Seller, Mr. Mr. Seller, are you interested in offering compensation out to the buyer's broker? Please note that anything that you offer at this time is always negotiable, and this can also be viewed as a limit to what you might be willing to consider. Well, tell me what is customary. I'm sorry, I don't know what is customary. There is no customary that I'm aware of. Tell me what is reasonable. I'm sorry, I don't know what is reasonable. You'll have to make that decision. What I can tell you is I have received on properties of this price point between X and Y%. I have done this, not it is, not we are seeing,
Not my
not,
broker?
excuse me?
Not my broker?
Not my broker is viewing. No, we have nothing, we have our guidelines. Yes, you can use our guidelines. Our guidelines, so if you're talking to a seller, you can say, our company policy as it relates to buyers is this. I have received this, but nothing general, nothing like that.
How do we get by doing cost sheets when we are at a listing appointment? Because that's the first thing the seller wants to see at a listing appointment is how much money am I gonna make?
Right.
And part of those costs are compensation, so.
So I would use our company policy at that point and say, this is based,
Senate, right?
we have a policy, yes, that says up to $1 million, 3% down to 2.5%. So if you want to use 3% or 2.5%, you want to provide them two. This is one at 3, this is one at 2.5. But we don't know what the buyer is going to be asking. Then you're on the line for the differential in the company dollar only. But the question is related back to the cost estimate sheet that you provide to a seller at the time of listing, which shows approximately what they would receive or what they would gain on the property. And I would probably do, right now I have one listing, but I mean, what I did with her was I calculated the costs, and then based on that net amount that she was receiving, I gave her 3 choices of compensation that a buyer might request: 3, 2.5, and 2 2/4, and showed her what her net would be on all 3 of those. And I said, so here, these are ideas. I don't know what the buyer is going to ask for. So, yes.
So the seller provides was removed from the listing package, but we still have to get it once a contract is established, don't we?
Right. So we've removed the compensation agreement from the listing packages only because initially it was put in there to help with the conversation that you have. But the conversation you have at the listing agreement at the time of listing is truly only an item of what they would consider or a maximum that they would consider, or even if they're considering assistance prior to receiving an offer. We took it out of there because it really should be with the offer that you write is where the compensation agreement should be. That should be with the offer that you write, or it should be received from the other side, indicating what their expectation or request is, what the buyer's expectation or request is. That makes sense? I know it's convoluted, but we'll continue to work through some of these. Addendum GG. We know that FF is the freaking form. We know that GG is the gag me form. But anyway, this should be submitted with every offer that you write. This should be submitted with every offer you write, unless a compensation agreement has been executed prior to submitting the offer. That's the only time you really don't need GG, is if for some reason you're talking with the agent and you say the buyer is, you're on the buy side, you're talking to the listing agent, you say to the listing agent, hi, we're wondering if the seller is offering or considering offering compensation to the buyer's broker, and the listing agent says, yes, they've considered it. And you say, okay, well, the buyer will be asking for 3%. See what their response is. That's fine. Submit it with your offer. If you submit, or if they then send you, yes, the seller's prepared for that. I'll send you over the compensation agreement, and now you execute it. You have that executed compensation agreement, then you don't need GG when you write your offer. Remember, GG adds a contingency to the contract to ensure that a compensation agreement is executed, whether it's seller's broker to buyer's broker or seller to buyer's broker, that those are executed because the brokerages are not party to the contract. Therefore, we have to have an agreement with someone in case something goes awry that says we were supposed to get paid. And now we know who we have to go after to get paid, right? So GG should be on every single offer you write unless there's a compensation agreement executed prior to submitting your offer. You do not need GG if you're using FF. FF says, I, the seller, am going to give the buyer a lump sum of money. They can use that money however they would like, and if they use some or all of that money for their buyer's broker agreement, I'm good with that. So that's the disclosure between the buyer and the seller. Remember, the contract is between the buyer and the seller. Any request for compensation should come from the buyer to the seller, and the seller agree to that, and then you have the agreement, the compensation agreement out here. But if the seller is saying, look, I'm just going to give you, I don't want to deal with this. I don't care. I just here's your lump sum of money. Use it for closing costs, use it for your buyer broker agreement. I don't care. Here's your lump sum of money. Then you don't need GG. How's it going to look on the closing statement? Well, if you use GG, then of course, if it's seller to buyer's broker, then of course there's going to be a debit from the seller and a credit to the brokerage, right? If you're using FF, then it's a debit of a lump sum of money to the buyer, and then the compensation that the buyer agreed to pay will show up as a debit on the buyer's side. Rhonda? Is there any difference in, I'm sorry? The question is there a write-off either way for the seller? Not that I'm aware, I'm not a CPA, I have no idea. I have no idea how it would be looked at. Yeah, I don't know. I would have them check with their CPA to see if it makes any sense. You had a question?
Kind of, on the listening side, why would you wanna get a compensation agreement executed prior to, because if the offer comes in low, you're gonna wanna negotiate. But seller's gonna want,
So you could have an executed compensation agreement, and when the offer comes in, remember, because compensation is always negotiable. Yeah, do a modification to the compensation agreement. Right. So if it was already executed, that doesn't mean that it's not still negotiable. It is, everything is, all compensation is negotiable practically up until the day of closing. We don't like to see that, but of course, Ed?
I have a situation like the Old River Road property, there's four land owners. And the buyer wrote letters of intent for each one.
Okay,
In the letter of intent, there was no mention of any compensation to us.
okay. So
So,
let me step back for a second. Maybe that's something we should talk about separately, only because that's commercial. So commercial doesn't fall under the same guidelines as the new rules and regulations. So if it's zoned residential, it does.
It does.
If it's not, if it's zoned agricultural or industrial, it does not.
If they weren't intending to build within 12 months. it would be the place.
Okay, I'll check that.
Yeah.
I'll check. Missy was saying she doesn't think that land would qualify if they weren't intending to build on it in 12 months. So obviously we have to check that out. Excuse me?
It's a fuzzy-
Yeah, with land. But this, I think a couple of the pieces already have a building on them, don't they?
homes that are vacant.
Vacant, okay. All right, so it's land value only. Okay. But good point. Let's take that as a sidebar. If you do have any questions related to land and it is zoned residential, then it does follow the guidelines, the rules, the current rules, but we'll check on availability or building content or building timing would be a better word. But thank you for bringing that up, sir, ma'am. 1, 2, okay, go. That's you. Hazel, ma'am, okay.
If I have one that's about to expire with the timeline that we put in place, and I'm starting to show property again, it's coming up in a couple of weeks. Can I change the date on the buyer's agreement, or do I need to do a new one? How do we extend that?
So you can, all of those things, you can change the date on the agreement as long as everybody initials it and dates that change. There is also a modification to the buyer broker agreement that you can use to extend the timeline. So either one will use, either one will suffice. Either one will suffice. Good question. Anything else on that? Okay. I think that was that there. just to make sure they get into your calendars, Tuesdays, January 13th, February 10th, March 10th, April 14th, May 12th, and June 9th. Those are the next 6 business meetings. If you could get them into your calendar, block off 9:30 or 9:15 to 11, that would be great.
They still the second Tuesday.
They are still the second Tuesday of the month. Location right now is to be determined. We're looking at a couple of different locations that'll be a little more central so that everybody can make it. All right. Any other questions we want to cover on any of those things? I appreciate your input. Good. I love the way you're thinking. I was concerned that you were asleep, so I appreciate the conversation there for a minute. All right, some successes for November. So let's take a look. For November, our top listers we have at the beach is Evelyn Martin. And she's sitting right here. And in San Jose, we had Holly McMurray. And then we had Linda and Selby for teams. And our company tops right over here. Congratulations. For written business in November, we have the beaches. We have Lyle Gardner with you. Yay. San Jose, we had Delilah. Where are they? Delilah's online. She can hear you. And then we had Linda and Selby for the team. So, and company top was Lyle. So that's great. Thank you. For production for November, for production at the beaches, we had Sharon Mills with 830. For San Jose, we had Karen Zambetti with 2.1. And our teams were quiet, but our company tops was Karen Zambetti. You kind of see from the numbers, some good stuff. November was a little tough, I'll be honest with you. We'll kind of peek into that. November was a little tough. Written business over $1 million in 1 month. Lyle wrote 1.9. Christy back there wrote 1.8. Delilah with 1.6 and Evelyn with 1.1. Woohoo! Nice going. And Linda and Selby with 1.2 on the team. So it's all good. And then for closing over $1 million, we had both Karen and Diane closing over. And Diane's right here. It's Diane. So thank you guys. Where are we year to date? Let's just take a peek and see. So for listings, 114 million with 176 listings versus 190. Volume definitely up. We went from about an average listing price of about 570 to almost 650. So that's good stuff. But we are a little low. We're almost 3 million ahead in listings, which is great. We're running, it's really interesting. We usually run almost exactly 50 listings to sales, 49, 51, we're at 45 and 55. So 45 on listings and 55 on sales. So interesting, a little bit of a shift, not a major shift. So you're still staying strong in all areas, which you don't always see. So that's really very cool.
Since the list sale price percentage.
I have not.
Interesting to see.
Yeah.
Compared to the.
Yeah, market as a whole, we're at about 94 to 96%. For us, that's a good question. When I get into my geeky number, my geeky mode for our launch for next year and get all my little numbers, that's a good one. Thank you. So volume in written business, 160 million, 500,000. So at this point, what we're looking at is not only what we'll be closing for this year, but kind of what we're already setting up for next year, right? We're looking 60 days out roughly versus 138. So 269 versus 272, we're 22 million ahead of last year when it comes to written business. I think that's really strong because it's going to set us up for a good first part of the year. What I will say is we traditionally, which is such a hard word to use anymore, if you look prior to COVID and just the couple years after, November, December were very strong for us. The last 2 years, we've seen November and December not be as strong. We can't get into that mode of, don't work hard because, it's first quarter and people don't do anything in first quarter. I think it's
The election year's always.
wonky.
People
Yeah.
take it from us.
Sadly, it seems to have crested over into 2025, but that's okay. I mean, I think we'll end up probably about 155 to 158. We're at 143 right now for closed year to date. So we anticipate probably about 155 to 158 in closed volume for this year. Goal was about 175, off of a little bit. A little bit, 20 million, significant. But where we are is we are almost 10 million ahead of last year, which is great. So it's a very positive thing at this end. We had a very strong end to the year last year. We're hoping for that same kind of a thing this year. First couple weeks a little slow, but that doesn't surprise me. A lot of what's written is looking to close December. So 257 versus 269 on transactions. I think we'll end up pretty close to that. And we'll end up above that, above the 269 mark. So not bad. Some good things to talk about. And our top 20 or our top 10, top 20. Ha 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 ha. We don't do that in December. Ha 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 ha. We make you wait. Ha 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 ha. So there you go. Comments and questions? Anything for me?
I think the numbers, the year-to-date numbers are kind of a reflection of what we see in the economy.
Hmm.
The money people
Yeah.
are fine. They're buying and selling, because if you go back and look at the numbers, that average sale price is higher,
Yep.
right?
Yep. Our average sales price is definitely
The
up.
people with money are still out there doing what they do. It's the first-time home buyers, the low to moderate income people that are taking pause.
So if you look at stats in showing time, and that's just what people are viewing, it's under 300, still very active, lots of showings. 300 to about 750, crickets. You get up to 750, up to 1,500,000, a little more activity, and surprisingly over 1,500,000, fairly consistent activity.
So the money people are still out there doing what they do.
Cash bad.
Spoken like a true lender. And speaking of cash bad, we've got some wonderful business partners here. Why don't we start over here? Eric, how are you? Happy holidays. Nice to see you.
Thank you. I'm the new guy, so I didn't prepare. I'm Gary Blocker. I'm an attorney and owner of River Street Title. I've known a lot of you for a long time. There's a lot of familiar faces. And anything to go forever. But thank you for having me, and if there's anything you can do to help you, let us know.
Thank you, Eric. I saw Bill. I don't know if he went, but
I think he's senior.
over here. Senior Dennis.
Yes,
Thank you.
All right, guys, just thanks for having us again. I know we talked a lot about AI and education and stuff like that. Britt in our office, she runs an AI class in our training room. I think she's getting that schedule set up for next year, so be sure to keep your eye out for that. You can go to our Eventbrite. It's going to have a schedule as it populates, and I'll be sure to share it out with everybody as well. As well as we'd love to have all you guys come to our Christmas party. It's next Friday, the 19th, at our Financial Way office from 5 to 9. It's going to be nuts. David has decided that he's hired a band from down in Jupiter, Florida that he loves, and he's bringing them up here. We're building a stage in the parking lot for them. So yeah, it's going to be a pretty fun night. So please, we'd love to have you guys attend. Again, you can RSVP on our socials. We've got a QR code that you guys can log in and let us know you're coming. We'd love to see you guys.
Great. Thank you. 5 to 9. I'm thinking 5 to 11, but whatever.
You know it's going long.
Oh.
Come on.
That's always great. The 19th over to Senior Allen.
So do you want me to wear my elf costume or my Bumble costume to the party?
He has his elf costume, so why don't you do Bumble? That'd be great.
Look what he can do. No, I'm trying to be funny. Thank you all for the polite laughter. Rates are still pretty good. The trend's our friend. Inflation's down. We're in the 2s. Jobs reports are coming in bad, so that's helping interest rates. So bad news for the economy is usually good news for interest rates. Like I just priced out a FHA purchase at 5.5%. So, I mean, it's out there. A lot of people are using our zero down FHA program. So that's a 6.25. So a little bit higher on the rate, but no down. And if the seller pays all the closing costs, they're coming to closing with a couple $100, maybe, or get a refund of their binding deposit. So pretty cool. Anyways, thank you.
Yay. Nice to see you. Is Bill back or? Okay, all right.
That's,
Yes.
Yeah, it's priced into the market already, a 1/4 point cut. And right now the chances are like 20% for a cut in January. January 28th is when they need that next year. So we'll see. We should have a new Fed governor next year, and the top 3 picks. If you believe the news, they say the president's already picked who he wants to put in. But the top 3 picks are all real estate friendly. So ideally it'll be good news for our business.
And I didn't see any of our partners online checking the comments. Shannon said both. I'm sorry, I didn't see that earlier. If you'll text me or email me, I'll try to answer what both is. Anybody have anything they want to make sure that we're aware of property wise? Oh, okay, great.
It'll go live on MLS on Friday, but it's already listed, so it's brokerage, we could show it. It's just not on MLS yet, so we had to wait for photography, and it was out there yesterday, so all good. And it's coming out 1.95. It's right over 3,000 square feet. Has a water view, and it's beautiful.
Wow. Paradise Key, if anybody online, 1.950. Hazel's seen it, so it's great too. Okay, cool. Yes, Miss Liz. Catch Cove.
Ken Creek. We didn't decrease the price, we increased it. But the seller is putting in $250,000 seed fund.
Oh, wow.
So we're in permitting stages right now, waiting for the city to do the wetlands. And we should be starting construction in January. Let's see. So we're at 215, which is still not gonna cover the entire seawall anyway. And she has moved out. It is being staged today. So, you have some motivation, Catch Cove, right off San Pablo. Waterfront, it's in a cul-de-sac. She's almost like on a little island. She's surrounded by marsh and water, so it's only a 2-year-old home.
Wow.
So
Is it tidal or is it navigable?
it is tidal, but Pumpkin Creek stays a little bit deeper than most of Isle of Palms and most of the waterways over there. So it's still, I mean,
Good for a boat, not for a
correct.
Good for a boat, not for a
Sailboat.
sailboat. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So we've got Catch Cove over near Isle of Palms. You've got Sea. Where are you again? No, Paradise Key. Sorry. I got the key part, but that's it. Anybody else? All right. Happy holidays, everybody. Have a wonderful holiday with your friends and family. Be safe. Stay hydrated. Take your emergencies. Get rid of the ick. Okay. Thank you, guys.